everyone, it's Janice from Le Rue de Fleur. Welcome back into the studio today. Today we have a really fun and fast, super beginner friendly sewing project if you want to recover some pillows, or you could use this same exact pattern and it just keep building on itself to make a nice sized quilt. But we are going to make a cute stuffed buffalo check pillow. And yeah, it's really easy. So if you have a few strips of fabric today, like I would say, I think I say in the measurements coming up next, a 1/4 yard for each of these, you should be good to go. It comes together so quickly. You can do it with a zipper or without a zipper closure. And yeah, have yourself a nice classic buffalo check throw pillow. So if you'd like to make this with me today, stay tuned. All the measurements and everything you need is coming right up. Alrighty, this week I am going to be making a really quick 16-inch pillow cover. My husband and I are redoing his little office room that's next door, and he has a little seating area over there, and I'm going to make some different cushions for it. He's a big Phillies fan. We already have red, but their other colors are blues and creams, and that's some of the other accents in the room. So that is what I'm going to work with today. I have some nice linens, albeit this one is maybe a little bit old and kind of not in the greatest of shape, but that's fine because it's just for us, and I'm hoping that a little bit of the discoloration maybe is just dirt that will wash out. I've got a cream linen and then this like navy-ish color. This is all stuff I just had in my stash. As well as my stash, I have this sort of old faded old faded zipper I don't really see using for a ton of other things, so I just chose one that fits mostly across the bottom. I'm going to make it double-sided so that it doesn't matter which way you end up using it. And I have a pillow form that's now covered in, I don't know, all kinds of things that were on my desk. Anyhow, we're going to put this together really, really quickly. It's just going to be a series of checks in that buffalo pattern. So I'm going to get that in my mind really quickly, and then we're going to do a little math and start cutting some squares and putting this together. Okay, so what we are going to do, and I like to just draw stuff out on graph paper and help me visualize it if I'm starting to feel confused, so that could be a little tip for you. But I am going to use 4 dark blue, and that's represented by these squares here. 4 creams, so that's this square there. And then I need 8 light blue to make that pattern. So you can see this is going to be like a line of darker, and then a line of lighter, a line of darker, and a line of lighter. And it also works this direction as well. So I'm going to cut 4.5-inch strips. Oh, and then I'm going to do it 2 times. So I actually need to double these. So I'll need 16 light blue, 8 cream, and 4 dark blue. Or 8 dark blue, 8 cream, and 16 light blue. Okay? I'm going to cut 4.5-inch strips, and then I'm going to strip piece them together. So I'll show you that next. It's very simple. I'm just going to cut 4.5-inch strips, sew down one side, and then I'm going to subcut them into 4.5-inch square sections. So they'll be 4.5 inches high, which will be like the width of my strip, and then they'll end up being 8.5 inches wide. And that way I'll have little pairs already made, and hopefully it will help me group them together really, really quickly. If you're feeling confused by that, you could just do 4.5-inch blocks, or if you wanted to create this with scrap fabrics, you could just do 4.5-inch blocks and then put them all together in this grid. So you can go ahead and take a screenshot of this. I also always write a blog post that corresponds with my YouTube videos, and I link it down below, so you can always go check that out. I will have this written out there if you're somebody that prefers to not screenshot stuff. Okay, let's get going. Okay, so I've just laid out my dark brown, I've just laid out my dark blue, and I'm going to square up the bottom of my fabric. So I'm just going to put that raw edge that I have just over the line. I'm lined up my selvages, and I'm putting them on one of my grid lines that goes this way. And I am just going to quickly trim off the bottom so that I know everything is straight and lined up, because I would like this to be a grid when it comes out and not wonky. And then without moving my fabric, I am just going to go ahead and cut that 4.5-inch strip. So I'm lining up my acrylic ruler with the 1/2 inch mark at the top, so I know I have my seam allowance, and I'm laying the 4 line down here on the bottom of my grid. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And then I'm just going to run my ruler right across this and trim myself off a nice strip of the fabric to work with. That's it. I have a couple of little fuzzies on the end. I'm good to go with this. And lucky me, I had already cut something similar in the past, so I had a cream one ready to go. So now I've just got to cut 2 strips, I think, of my blue, because I need double the amount of blue. And I'm hoping that 1 strip of this can get me all the pieces that I need, but I might have to cut more, and that's fine. I'm not really going to try to count while I'm doing it, but you certainly could if you needed to maximize your fabric. I'm going to estimate that this project would take a, let's see, well, they're 4.5 inches wide, so if you needed 2 rows of each, I would estimate you would want to get width of fabric by 1/4 yard, so that would be 9 inches. So you'd be able to get 2 4.5-inch pieces. If you wanted to have a little bit of extra in case you made a mistake, I'd get a 1/3 yard cut, and then that way you would know how many you would need, okay? Or you would have a little bit extra if you make a mistake or something, and you don't have to like worry about calculating. So I am going to cut my light blue, same as I just did with that dark blue, and then we're gonna sew these strips together. Okay, so now I need to refer to my diagram here of how I'm going to put them together. So I need a row that has the darkest blue and the lightest blue. So my dark blue and my baby blue need to go together. And I am just going to create a group like this and then line them up at their top and bottom. This one doesn't go quite the whole way to the bottom, but I'm hoping that's okay. And again, I can always make more if I need to, but I am going to line them up along this one edge, and then this is the edge I'm going to sew down, okay? So I'm gonna create that group and get it by my machine. And then I need a cream and baby blue group. So I am going to create that group. Like a bunch of lady beetles all over this room. Same thing. I'm going to just line them up, right sides together. If there is such a thing for the linen, there isn't really, so it doesn't matter. But if you had a print, you would want to put the print with the print facing each other, and then their more dull sides, the back of the pattern, would be up, so that when you open it along the seam, you have print and print. But for linen, it doesn't really matter. There's not really like a right or a wrong. So I'm just going to sew down this side as well, and then we're going to subcut them together, or subcut them up. Okay, so we've got it. We've got them all pressed open. Now we need our diagram, and we're going to lay this out. So I'm going to start with the darkest corner up here in the top, and then I need to do a blue and white cream below it. Then I need to do another set of dark and light across, and then another set of the blue and cream, and then repeat that down below until I get all of my 16 blocks going across. Now what I'm going to do is create little 4-patch units, which we talked about last time, or you could sew them in a row, whatever you want to do. And we're just going to flip one on top of the other, and then put a pin right where these fabrics line up. So line them up really nicely. Oh, I didn't, yeah, I should have pressed everything to the baby blue side. but that's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. But if you want them to lock together, press everything to the baby blue side so that they make a little ridge there that you can nest. But I'm just going to line them up really nicely and put a pin right along where they sit together, right down here. And then we'll sew across. And that pin is really going to hold it together really nicely so it can't shift while you're sewing it. And then you'll have that really great crisp grid. Okay, so let's do that. Let's put a pin in it. Right there. And then that is ready to sew. And I'm going to put it in my machine like this and sew down this whole side. I'm going to repeat that 4 times for each one of these units. And then I'm going to repeat that step to put all of the 4 groups together. And then we will have our first pillow top. And then I'm going to repeat the whole thing again to make the back pillow top. Okay, so I'm placing them on my machine. This time I am going to back stitch at the beginning and ending just because this is where we're going to start to lock everything together. And I want to make sure that whatever seams end up being on the outside of my pillow don't come apart when I'm doing my final assembly. And now we have these 4 patch units, and then we just go and I'm going to iron, or I'm just going to put them all together in their little grid. So now we need to take this unit and match it up with the same one next to it. So we've got the dark in the upper right and the cream in the lower left as shown on our diagram, and the 2 light blues in the opposite corners. And I just need another one that matches that, and then the 2 on the bottom, and we will have our whole top. And then I'm just going to repeat that for the back, and we'll have this put together really quickly, and all we'll have to do is fuss with our zipper. Hold on. So I am going to pin again, but you can see here I'm just going to line them up right sides together, and then I am going to lock them at the light blue seams like I should have done last time, and put my pin in there. And then I'm going to sew all along this side, and then I'm going to do the same thing when I have all of those units together and sew all along the bottom. So I'm going to pin at every little intersection, every little area there where the seams meet, so that I get it nice and crisp as possible. And I think you can see our pattern coming together here. So I'm just going to go ahead and press some seams at this point because I don't like when they get a little too chunky to work with. So I'm going to go press, and then I'm going to, like I said, line up everything along these spots in each spot and pin each time there's a little crossing of seams so that I get that nice grid. Okay, there's my whole top, and then I'm just going to go and give that a press so all my seams lay flat. I'm going to repeat this whole process to create the back. Okay, so now we're on to the zipper bit. And we need to find the center here. So we can just use the center seam, basically. And we need to find the center of our zipper. So I'm just going to fold it end to end since I'm not going to cut this. And I'm just going to finger press it. You could also measure using your grid ruler, but and then I am just going to line those up with that little press that I made, a little finger crease, onto right here where my center seam is. And then I'm going to put those right sides together, and I'm going to put some pins down here, and I'm going to move my zipper about halfway down, maybe not quite halfway because I want to be able to put a pin right there and right there. So I'm going to move my zipper down a little bit so I have room to work, and then I'm just going to put my zipper foot on and sew along the edge, and you cannot run over obviously the metal bits. When I get here, I'm just going to do a tiny back stitch, lift up my zipper foot, lift up the whole foot on my machine, and pull my zipper back up to the top so then I can sew the rest of this way without having to worry about this bump getting underneath of the foot of my machine, okay? Because that can gum it up. I know most people say leave your needle in and then just work your hand up. It's too much, okay? So I just put a little back stitch in there and then I just pick up where I left off. It works just fine. And then that way I don't have to worry about running over the pull, and I don't have to worry about this going sideways and getting underneath of my needle and breaking my needle or my machine, okay? So just stop when you get here, when you're getting close, and then move that thing out of your way. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some pins in here to hold it, and then we're gonna just attach it to this side and then flip it open and do the same thing on the other side. So I just wanna make sure that I have a little finger press at the middle on both sides. You could also use a pen and like mark where the middle is, but this works just fine. Just so you can see it. If you can't see a finger crease and that doesn't work for you, then do an actual line, okay? So that is what I'm doing to get my zipper set in here. And I'm going to change, I don't know, maybe I won't change the feet on my machine. What if we don't change it? What if we just see if we can do it with the foot that's on there? It's risky business, but you know, what if you are somebody that's new to sewing and you don't have a bunch of feet for your machine? I don't know. Maybe we should see if we can do it. I don't know. I think I've done it before. I can't remember, honestly. It's probably not a great idea, but in the interest of experimenting and also being lazy, maybe we will just do it. So I am going to pin a bunch here. I don't usually pin a lot, which if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I don't really like to pin that much. But here it's important because I want it to stay where I want it to be. I don't want to have a wonky, weirdo zipper. And I would like it to be lined up at the end of all of this. So I'm going to back stitch at the top, back stitch at the bottom, do a little back stitch here, move that thing out of my way. And hopefully we can get this all situated and together here quickly without breaking anything. No, I can't do it. I'm going to have to change the foot. It's not going to work, and I don't want to risk it. So I am going to change my foot because that would be tragic to break something. So I don't think you can do it. Not with the zipper I have anyway. Don't risk it for the biscuit. You're going to be upset. I'll just have to find my zipper foot, so hold on. Just in case you don't sew a lot and you're not sure, you've never done a zipper, this is a zipper foot, okay? See how much skinnier it is than the other one? Well, this is my big walking foot, so this thing's a chunk, but you can see even on the even here that they are different widths, and that's because this here, the needle's going to go down through that little slot, and you can see how much closer it can get to the zipper than like this thing. See that? That would get caught. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this on. I've changed the holder, or whatever that's called. And then I'm just gonna lower this down and pop that guy on there and we're good to go. I'm just gonna go nice and slow, and this time I do need to move my pins out of the way while I work. So I just lined my zipper with my foot right up against here, and I am just gonna ride right along that ridge that the zipper creates. Take your time and watch where you're going because you don't want to mess this one up. So here I'm getting close to my pole. I'm just going to do a little back stitchy and cut the whole thing so I can slide it out of my way. See, now I don't have to worry about it at all going the rest of the way down, and I'm just going to pick up on that seam where I left off. And this one has like a weird bubble metal thing at the end, so I'm just gonna go really, really slow. Okay, side one is completed. You can see what we've done. Lovely. I realize this is very faded, but it's for my husband's room and he will never look at this. So it's a great time to use up something that I really would not use otherwise. Just gonna finger press everything flat here and then line up my other side here the same way. So, do we want to rotate? No, that kind of messes up the pattern. We'll just do it like this. Okay. So I'm going to flip it over and then just line everything up the exact same way that I did it last time so that it is where it needs to be. Yes, I still poke myself with needles. People who sew develop extremely tough hands. I have to tell you that much because you poke yourself and cut yourself and whatever so many times that you have to be tough to do this. Okay, now I'm going to sew that down as well. Okay, so our zipper is all set in, lovely, and now we just need to line everything up all the way around and sew it closed. So this is the fun bit. I'm going to line these up here. You could have quilted this, and honestly, it probably would be a little bit nicer if I did, but again, I don't know. I just don't really want this project to take that long today. I'm feeling rather impatient, but you could quilt it and then you would do everything else the same and just be a little bit thicker. So you might want to just go even slower when you're doing the zipper bit, just to make sure that you didn't actually catch anything. But I'm just going to pin again at all of the little spots where things intersect. So that it looks nice and crisp the whole way around. and in each corner so that the corners stay together really nicely. And then all we have to do is get the whole way around to the perimeter. And you want to leave your zipper, at this point is when I usually always forget, leave your zipper open so you can reach your hand down in there and turn everything around. Okay, so I'm just going to start on either side of my zipper, back stitching. When you get to the corner, you leave your needle down, lift your presser foot, and just pivot. Okay, I'm going to take all of the pins out. You can also crop your corners, so that would be cutting off this little bit to the outside of the corner, leaving about an 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch there. But since there's not a ton of bulk with this fabric, because I just made the linen, I'm not going to really worry about it. If you did quilt, and then you had all that extra batting in there, you would want to do that, because otherwise you're going to have like a really chunky, ugly looking corner. But I'm not going to need to do that here. I just reach my hand down in and push everything out. And just sort of use your finger, or you can use the bottom of a pen and push that corner out down there. Now we've got a lovely zipper area that we can fit our form in. Maybe it's like very chunk, this form. So I'm gonna go ahead and stuff it.